The Hyundai Staria, that's a people mover, right? Well, yes it is, but it's also a commercial van, and it's here to replace the once popular Hyundai iLoad, to try and take your money away from a legend like the Toyota HiAce. The question is it all cool sci-fi looks, or does it really have what it takes? Let's take a look. Now, the version of the Staria Load we're looking at for this review is the higher of two variants, the Premium, and it costs a little over 50 grand before on roads.
Now keep in mind, as a van, not a people mover, there is only one spec level for its key HiAce rival, which in equivalent automatic form costs from slightly less before on-roads. So the existence of this premium grade is a bonus to Hyundai. But also, unlike the HiAce, the Staria can only be had in one wheelbase, so tough luck if you need even more space. We'll get into interior space shortly, but for your additional spend over the more basic Staria Load, the Premium scores many of the refinements available on the People Mover version, particularly LED headlights, 17-inch alloy wheels instead of steelies, a set of two 10.25-inch screens, both for multimedia and digital instrument cluster, wireless phone charging, keyless entry with push-start ignition, a power tailgate, additional safety features, and 3 additional color choices over the plain white and silver the base van comes in. So, should you splash for the Premium? Well, it's not a whole lot more money for the additional kit, and it does add passenger car levels of equipment to the interior, while giving this car's exterior design a chance to live up to its potential with those sleek LED light fittings and additional color choices which are missing from the base van. So we still consider it pretty good value, at least when stacked up against the HiAce. On the design front, this is a pretty cool looking van, right? The full-on retro futuristic vibe extending to Hyundai's commercial offering here is a statement of commitment by the brand, and it brings with it some of the neat design motifs from more aspirational models like the Ioniq 5, particularly those pixel LED rear lights and its sleek Android face. These alloy wheels help to up the sci-fi vibe while preventing this van from looking too delicate for duty, while the expansive panelwork seems perfect to wear whatever branding your small business could dream up.
Inside, that futuristic theme continues, and you also get a whole bunch of common motifs with the rest of Hyundai's passenger car range as well, which really lift up this cabin. You get this nice cutaway for the vents across the dash, and specific to this premium grade, you get these nice big digital screens as well, which again uplifts the cabin, alongside this steering wheel, which is actually lifted straight out of a Hyundai Tucson SUV. Okay, now practicality. So you get tough seat trim, you get a nice liner in this premium grade as well, but you also get some dainty bits like this sort of piano surround for the multimedia screen and a leather trim for the steering wheel, which is kind of unusual in a commercial vehicle. Now, no matter which trade you do, I'm sure you need plenty of storage in the cabin, and it's pretty good in here. So in the door, you've got a large bottle holder and sort of 3 terraced storage bays where you could probably put folios, laptops, all that sort of thing in there. There's also a bottle holder up the top here, although it's not quite big enough for our large CarsGuide bottles. So if you've got a similar kind of bottle, then you might want to use this one here, which just flips out. There you go. Although it does float a bit, so if you're bouncing around, you might spill your coffee. Worth thinking about. Now, in terms of other storage, you've got bang, storage in there, bang, storage in there, and a big drop down thing there. Up here as well, you've got these clever rubberized nets, so you can catch things like folios, laptops if you want to put it up there. And of course, there's room behind the seats too. This area between these 2 seats, if you delve into the options list, there's also a fridge you can get. So if you want to keep your food safe during the day, well, that's an option too. All right, so hopping inside the load area here, and there's a few things to note. Firstly, you've got sliding doors on either side, so it doesn't matter which side of the curb you pull up on, and that's standard even on the base version of this car. Now, the space in here is just under 5,000 litres, which is a little less than the equivalent HiAce, but still pretty good for the segment. And our van here has this nice sort of soft linoleum floor for loading heavy objects into, and an optional gate back there to stop things from entering that passenger area too. Now, one thing I did note about this van particularly is there's not quite enough lighting inside here, and I couldn't find it on the options list either. I did load this van and unload this van at night, and it was just a little bit dark in here and hard to see things, and it just seems like a bit of a hazard. It'd be nice to have an LED package for the interior as well. You can go to town elsewhere in the options list as well. There's different floor options you can get. There's a wood option floor. You can get claddings for the side. There's windows. There's security grates for the windows as well. So plenty of ways you can go. But there is one thing that the Premium is stuck with that you can't option your way out of. Let's take a look. And that's that single piece hatch tailgate, and in this case, it's powered as well. Now, interestingly, you can't pick the swinging tailgate that comes on the base model on the premium version of this car, and that might be an issue for you if you're frequently working in length or height constrained spaces. It's just worth keeping in mind, although one benefit that this powered tailgate does have is you can stop it halfway up. So if you do have something like a air conditioning duct or something above you in a parking space, that is kind of a benefit of having this feature.
Now, to test this van out, I did load it up with probably 500 or 600 kilos worth of plants, pots, soil, and other garden equipment. If you add myself and my passenger, it was well over half of this van's payload. We'll talk about how it fared later on in the driving section of this review, but I can report it was super useful to have doors on both sides and at the rear when loading those unwieldy items.
Now, before we get on the road, we should talk about what powers the Staria Load, and there's just one option. It's a 2.2 litre 4-cylinder turbo diesel engine mated to an 8-speed torque converter automatic transmission. And this is interesting because it's more like an engine that you would find in a Hyundai passenger car and not out of a truck or tailor-made for a van like some rivals.
Unlike the HiAce, you can't pick a big V6 engine option for the commercial version of this van, and the Staria is front-wheel drive only in commercial form. You can't get a diesel all-wheel drive option offered in the People Mover variant. Let's hop on the road and see how it feels.
My question is, when did commercial vehicles get so nice? Actually, I know the answer. It was the new HiAce, the new Volkswagen Caddy, and now this Staria. They're all so lovely to drive because they inherit that kind of passenger car ride quality, passenger car steering, and even refinement. Like this diesel engine in this van feels distant to me. In many ways, the Staria is instantly impressive to drive. It's so removed from commercial offerings past that it feels almost as though I'm driving an SUV, like I could be tricked at night into thinking I was driving a Tucson or something. Possibly the most impressive thing about the drive experience in the Staria is that 8-speed transmission. While it's all well and good to have a distant diesel engine that sounds like it's far away, mainly because it's sourced from a passenger vehicle instead of a truck, it's the 8-speed transmission that makes the drive experience so smooth. It's truly impressive, and it even behaves like that when you've got it loaded up. Now, I did put about 500 or 600 kilos worth of stuff in the back of this van to see how it would handle for better or worse once loaded up, and it's about what you'd predict. The engine didn't feel it at all, and neither did the transmission, and so I was really impressed by that. And if anything, the ride quality improved, which is kind of what you'd expect out of a commercial van like this once there's more load over that rear axle. Obviously, these digital features in the cabin help, but you've also got this lovely steering wheel. And visibility, well, that's one of the most important things for a trade driver, I imagine. And so you've got these huge windows on either side that just make visibility awesome out of this truck. We've even got big rear wing mirrors as well, and it's easy to see out the back with this single lifting tailgate window option, although that can quickly get obscured once you start loading it up. As it is though, driving around, well, it's not too bad. So if you were stuck driving one of these every day, even on the freeway, it's pretty quiet. So at the end of the day, you can hop out still well rested. You're not battered about like you used to be in old commercial offerings. Now, one of the benefits of that ride quality isn't just comfort for your driver and your front passenger. It's also that your load won't bounce around and get shaken around as much. It stops things from breaking when you're just trying to drive around on your day-to-day job. That having been said though, even unladen, this car feels quite good, and the difference between loaded and unloaded wasn't actually as big as I thought it was going to be. And that means that you can end your workday still feeling comfortable and well rested as you hop out of this van.
The Staria Load has a 75-litre fuel tank, suggesting a longer theoretical range between fills compared to the HiAce, which has both higher fuel consumption and a smaller tank. Tradies deserve to be safe too, right? Well, Hyundai has had the opportunity here to design this van from the ground up and build safety in. As a result, the Staria Load carries a maximum 5-star ANCAP safety rating to the 2021 standard, which is very impressive for a commercial vehicle. It even includes a thorough and, again, passenger car-like suite of active safety items like auto emergency braking, lane keep assist, blind spot monitoring, all as standard. For the granular detail on the Staria Load's full safety gear, check out our review at carsguide.com.au. The Staria needs to be cheap to run to compete with its rivals here, and for the most part, it appears to be. Servicing is required once every 12 months or 15,000 Ks, and the price is fixed at just $360 per visit for the first 5 years. Interestingly, its HiAce rival needs to be serviced twice as often, every 6 months or 10,000 Ks, which for some buyers will be comparatively unappealing. Hyundai offers a 5-year, 160,000 kilometre warranty for its commercial vehicles, which is on par for the van space.
The HiAce was always going to be tough to take on, but if any commercial van out there has the right ingredients, it's the Staria Load. Sure, it might not have all the specs or all the variants of its HiAce rival, but it does have many alternate luxuries. That nice interior, many features that should help you in your day-to-day trade, and it should make for a great van which is both good for work and play.